welcome and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to solve slot 1 of year 2023. तो देखते हैं क्या कहता है आज का हमारा क्वेश्चन. The schematic diagram below shows 12 rectangular houses in a housing complex. House numbers are mentioned in the rectangles representing the houses. The houses are located in 6 columns, column A through column F, and there are 2 rows, row 1 and row 2. The house are divided into 2 blocks. This is XX and this is YY. The diagram also shows 2 roads, one passing in front of the houses in row 2, this one and this one. These are the 2 rows. Okay. Some of the houses are occupied, the remaining ones are vacant and are the only ones available for sale. The road adjacency value of a house is the number of its sites adjacent to a road. For example, the road adjacency value of C2, F2 and B1 are 2, 1 and 0. Okay. So for C2, if we see there are 2 roads passing over here, so there the value would be 2. Okay. The neighbor count of a house is the number of sites of that house adjacent to occupied in the same block. For example, E1 and C1 can have maximum possible neighbor counts of 3 and 2. So for E1, if we look, it can have how many neighbors? D1, F1 and E2 can be the members of E1. Okay. The base price of a vacant house is rupees 10 lakh if the house does not have a parking space and 12 lakh if it does. The quoted price in lakh of a vacant house is calculated as the base price plus 5 into road adjacency value plus 3 into the neighbor count. Okay. Let's make the diagram. Row 2 and row 1. So this is A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. This is row 1 and this is row 2. Okay. This is D1, D2, E1, E2 and F1, F2. Okay. This is row 1 and this is row 2. The maximum quoted price of a house in block XX is 24 lakhs. So the maximum price can be 24 lakhs. The minimum quoted price of a house in a block YY is rupees 15 lakh and one such house is in column E. So either this or this will have a total price of 15 lakh. Row 1 has 2 occupied houses, one in each block. So one occupied box over here and one over here. Both houses in column E are vacant. So this is vacant and this is also vacant. Okay. Each of column D and column F has at least one house occupied. Okay. There is only one house with parking space in block YY. So here there would be only one house with parking space. This is YY and this is XX. Now the maximum quoted price of a house in block XX is 24. So how can we get this 24 lakh? Okay. So if I take 10 plus 5 into A plus 3 into B, will I get 24? So 10 plus 5 into 1 plus 3 into 3, that is 15 plus 9, that is 24. Now we have to find a block which has 3 neighbors and 1 road adjacency value. Okay, so this will be only block 2. So A2, C2 and B1 all will be the occupied flats since the neighbor count here is 3. Okay, so this will be occupied, this will be occupied and this will be occupied. Okay. Now we are told that row 1 has 2 occupied houses, one in each block. If this is occupied, then this will be vacant and this will be also vacant. Okay, so this is clear. Now let's move on to YY. Okay, if in YY we are given that both houses in column E are vacant, okay, and the minimum quoted price of a house in block YY is rupees 15 lakh and one such house is in column E. So one of the house is over here. Okay. Now if I take this to be 15, what will be my conditions? Okay. If I take 12 plus, if this has a parking space, okay, we are told that there is only one house with parking space in block YY. So if it has a parking space, then 12 plus 5 into the road adjacency value would be 0 and the neighbors will come out to be 1, that will give me 50. Okay, so either D1 or F1 will be occupied. Okay, so if D1 is occupied, we are told that at least one of the house is occupied. Okay, now let's assume D1 is sorry, this has one neighbor. So if D1 is occupied, F1 can't be occupied because the row 1 has 2 occupied houses in each block. Okay, so if D1 is occupied, F1 can't be occupied. D2, E2 and F2, and if F1 is not occupied, F2 has to be occupied because at least one of the two houses are occupied. Okay, now let's move to the first question. How many houses are vacant in block X6? So if I talk about box XX, then there will be three vacant houses in XX. Okay, which of the following houses are occupied? So I have options F2, B1, D2, and A1. So F A1 is not occupied. Then if I talk about B1, B1 will be surely occupied. So the answer will be B1. Okay. Which of the following option best describe the number of vacant houses in row 2? So if we see the number of vacant houses in row 2, either D2 will be full or F2 would be full. Okay. And here there is only one vacant house. Okay. So it can be either 2 or it can be either 3. What is the maximum possible quoted price for a vacant house in column E? Okay. Now, in column V, we came across that E1 had a parking space. So, if E1 had a parking space, then what is the maximum possible quoted price for a vacant house in column E1? So, we have seen that E1 had parking space. E2 does not have a parking space. So, the maximum can be such that both D2 and F2 are occupied. Okay, and E2 has road adjacent to it. So, this would come out to be 21. Which house in block YY has parking space? So, we have seen that E1 has parking space. Okay. Okay. So the set is completed. I hope you liked my explanation. Do like, share and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.